Hi, this is Rich with insideHPC. We are here at SC18 in Dallas, Texas, and today I'm at the Intel booth with Bill Magro. Bill is an Intel Fellow, and you're the Chief Technologist for HPC at Intel, are you not?
Yes, I am. Thanks. It's good to be here with you.
It's always good to talk to you, Bill. Well, I want to talk to you today about cloud and HPC. It's been something that's been talked about here for at least 10 years. Is it really happening now from what you're seeing and what's driving it?
I think it absolutely is happening and starting to happen in a big way. We've seen this trend coming for a long time, but there's been a number of barriers to adoption, and right things are starting to happen in the ecosystem to really unlock the power of cloud for HPC users.
So, Bill, I want to ask you about where this is going. I mean, as HPC cloud proliferates, are we going to see on prem go away?
No, we don't actually see that happening at all. A lot of the reasons people are using HPC in the cloud is to augment their on-premise resources. So imagine a company that's got an HPC system. Usually it's run at 95+% utilization, and there's a backlog in the queue. So there's a lot of engineering time, which is much more valuable than machine time, tied up in those jobs in the queue. If you can get the right ones into the cloud, you actually can unlock some value from your engineers while still maintaining full utilization of your on-prem system. Then turn around and show that if you had actually had more resources on-prem, you would have gotten that same business value, perhaps at a lower cost. So we see cloud as a way to deal with the variability in demand and actually provide the data that shows the value of the on-prem systems and reinforces it. Yeah.
So, Bill, are there things that the HPC crowd can learn from cloud?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of innovation out there in cloud, and I think in the early days of cloud computing, sometimes it was viewed as hype. Sometimes people say we're already doing that. You know, we've been service providers, multiple users sharing, but there is some real innovation in cloud, and HPC centers can actually benefit from that and actually serve their users better. So let me give you an example or two. Cloud has actually changed users' expectations. In the past, it was practical. It was really the only way you could do things is to set up a large center, is to try to simplify things and have a uniform environment. And if a user came to a system, they had to learn that environment, make sure their applications worked in that environment. Cloud has changed their expectations. They can create whatever environment they want and bring it up on demand. So HPC centers are responding by starting to let people bring their own environment, but do it in a safe way through container technology like Singularity. Uh, Other centers are actually using technologies like OpenStack to start to bring some elasticity and dynamic provisioning into their environment so that they can have an R&D or research cluster that's doing analytics, another one that's doing traditional sim mod, and actually move the boundary underneath the traditional job schedulers. So those are just a couple examples where cloud technology is influencing the way people are doing HPC to better serve their users.
It sounds like it's bringing more flexibility for the users. Like there's always the professor that wants to be root, right? And things like that, where on a place like a lab, well, that isn't going to happen, but containers are making that possible.
Well, containers and being root is not necessarily something that mixes with HPC. Being root in a container usually is secure because you're sitting inside a virtualized environment, and that kind of interferes with high performance computing. So at the low end of HPC, where there's more throughput oriented, a lot more design space exploration, a lot more experiments exploring the dimensions and the parameters, that can work. But really being root is not what it's about. It's about being able to customize your environment, bring in older or newer versions of software, and ensure consistency with maybe some other resource that you have access to or own.
So, Bill, what is Intel doing specifically to help people, users that want to do this cloud HPC thing?
Well, one of the big issues, and one that you back to your earlier question of, is this HPC cloud thing happening? Well, it is starting to happen, and the reason is that people are recognizing that the infrastructure as a service layer and the PaaS, I'll call them PaaS toolkit components that exist, really are a good fit for people writing enterprise apps, but they haven't been a good fit for HPC. An HPC user is familiar with the concept of a cluster, familiar with the concept of a queue, and those aren't the service interfaces that are provided by the big cloud service providers. So a couple things are happening. We've got specialist HPC providers who are coming in and making it possible for people to have a familiar HPC environment but on demand. And we've got a whole ecosystem growing up, small companies who are filling that gap. They code to those low-level interfaces and they present a familiar HPC either platform interface or even in some cases a software as a service interface. So Intel's working with that whole ecosystem to really bring our experience in HPC applications, software, OS, all that, clustering, and help define a consistent layer that is available across many clouds to ease the access for your users.
Bill, it sounds like exciting times, and like we say, HPC isn't just about chips. This has been fascinating to learn more about this HPC cloud and watch it grow. It's really exciting for me from my perspective. So good job.
Well, thanks a lot. And I'd say everybody keep your eye on this space. Looking back 5 years from now, this is going to come in and it's coming fast.